to approve.
First, and second.
And I will second it.
Oh.
Any, all right, so moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the chair ayes have it, motion carries. We will now move down into public comments, which is a 15-minute period for citizens to appear and express their views before the Decatur Public Library Board. Limit of 3 minutes per speaker, total of 15 in total. No immediate responses given by the library trustees or staff members. Reed, you can speak.
I am.
Please do.
Can you pass these that way, please? I know that. Hello, I'm Reed Suitman, and I prepared a document but not a speech, so please forgive me. I am asking the library to add feed support to its website. I get all of my news, most of my news anyway, through a feed reader app. It's an old technology that's been around for like 20 years. A lot of big news organizations use it. Herald and Review uses it. Doris Turner's website uses it, which I just found out last night. And I would love to keep up with library events through a feed reader app. That way I wouldn't have to follow the Facebook page and I wouldn't have to manually check the website. And for like news releases that the library does, if those would go to a feed, that would be great. I know you guys do like an email newsletter, and that's great for a lot of people. Personally, I don't want any more emails in my inbox, so I'd love to use the feed reader app to keep up with those. And then I believe there is a secondary benefit to promoting feed reader support, in that it is, in my view, a better way to access information and stay up to date, where you're in control of what news you subscribe to. So if the library supported this technology and encouraged people to stay up with the library via feed readers, it could help encourage people to be more in control of how they consume news. So please give that a consideration. Technically speaking, it should be pretty simple. And if whatever company you use for your website wants to charge you a lot of money for it, they're probably ripping you off. It's not that complicated. The specific suggestions I have in the document are not necessarily that important. Whatever way you go about making it work would be awesome. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you.
I believe that will conclude our public comments. Is there any communications from the public?
Reed and I have had several emails back and forth about website stuff, and I've passed those along to committee that looks at that stuff, and actually it's not really just that committee anymore, but Alyssa's team looks at that stuff, and they're all good suggestions, and as is an RSSP.
I'm not as familiar with it, but I'm assuming this article that's to the right on this document that was passed out is more or less what it looked like. I mean, I've seen things for Twitter type situation where you keep them all in a smaller possibility. Yeah, it's investigate that. All right, we will move down into division head reports. Becky?
So-
Start us off.
Okay, so, you're all coming tonight, right?
I am.
Right after this, you're all gonna show up and hang out with us at the very first 150th event is tonight, 6 o'clock. We have little snacky things and some coffee, so come on down. In the Madden, we're going to do, it's a library history panel. So Alyssa's on it. There are several staff members and former staff members. One former board member is on it. We're just going to talk about the history of the library and their time here, the human side of the history of the library. So I expect to see you all there. Yeah. Yeah. I hope you can make it. If you can't, I totally understand, but I hope you can make it. And it should be a good time. We are recording it, so if you don't make it, we will put it on our YouTube probably within a week.
What's coming up in February for anniversary?
Trivia.
And what's the date?
That is the 15th.
I'm saying it for.
I know, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
already
Benefit of
signed up.
everybody.
yeah, good,
Or we
great,
have a
thank
team,
you.
right?
And it is,
I don't think I.
and it is here at the.
It's here in the Madden, it's after hours, and that is also at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
It's gonna be lit.
Yeah.
I believe we're doing
Alright.
mocktails.
Yeah.
So-
We're gonna have some mocktails and,
Okay.
it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be wild, we're getting some good food.
I feel like if you go tonight, you're really gonna have some inside info to the trivia night.
What are we talking about?
I don't know, maybe. Trivia is library history, but also books, movies, shows, stuff like that. So it's not just library stuff, but and then there'll be probably some theater history and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so we can have up to, I think, 72 people sign up for trivia. That's what, 8 teams? How many teams is that? I don't know. But it's, I don't know. Maybe 6. I think it's 6.
That is the unknown factor.
It's 6 tables. It's 6 teams. It's 12 tables of 6 people.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Is there room to watch if you don't want to be on a team?
That is a question for Katie. Katie is running this. I believe you can come and watch, but
Is this at the Cater Brewers?
no, this is trivia night here.
I was like, oh.
Trivia night here on 15th of February. Tonight is, so for you, tonight is the library history panel. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up, guys. So
Shoot, I had something to bring in.
so does this one. She hasn't brought it in either.
It was really cold last evening.
It's going to be even colder next week.
We're gonna do.
Oh,
It's not gonna be.
I actually had my trusty thing.
You're not alone.
Going to the history
Oh.
panel is
I love it.
to bring my badge.
You haven't gotten your new ones yet.
Look at that, first time I've ever worn it.
When we not
Yeah.
be
Oh, nice.
It's,
And you're getting another one.
Oh, am I?
Henry, I didn't get it.
Oh, I
Rick,
love
what are those coming in?
But yeah, I still have mine.
Rick? When are the badges coming in?
they were ordered yesterday.
Okay.
They're in the
Yeah. You're getting 150th badges.
They're only good for a year.
Why can't we keep wearing them?
You can.
We have to just put them away?
I think it's over here now.
It's a memento.
It's a
I think
memento.
I think Rick will just be happy that we wear our name tags. Anyway, that's all I have, so I'm gonna stop talking now.
All right.
We should go towards you.
I can't, I'm on the committee.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
terrible.
We don't want to
at
wear
trivia.
Rick's team has already
So,
signed up.
were you asking why we can't wear the 150th ones forever and ever?
Yeah.
Because we have a logo. That's not our logo.
Oh, it doesn't
We have
have-
we have a
oh.
150th anniversary logo.
That's
for
right,
one
it
year.
is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't change our logo. We're changing our logo for a year. to be
With the
the-
150.
Ah.
Yeah.
Is that all for?
Yes, she said yes.
That's all I got.
Well, we'll be lucky if you kick it around with us too, I know.
I think I was saying kick her out. I'm like, what?
You gotta leave at like 5, so I can go downstairs and put stuff in places.
When you're hanging out, right? All right, Carol, please, what happened there?
Let's see, we are still trying to get our circulation desk together, we're moving closer, so working on that. I'm training this. I mean, it's a variety of paint and the configuration of the credenza was wrong, and we just did a wall paint,
And that was,
so,
that was
and
going to be
data.
part of our furniture discussion, but I'm happy to answer that
Yeah.
question now if you want. We need grommets cut, that should be 21st, so Tuesday. Grommets are the holes in a desk that all your computer stuff comes up to. And there's going to be back screens meant for it to sort of hide the cables at the back of the computer because people hate those.
Looks messy.
The credenza, our fixed credenza that's right sized, should be arriving also on the 21st, and it goes back into that little recess there. But we also need paint. So I've got 2 quotes. One was for just under $7,000. The second quote was just under $5,000. So I'm hoping that if it holds true, the third
Be under
quote will be for
3,000.
just under $3,000, and we'll go with that. So I'm waiting on Christy Bolts to give a third quote. Most of the cost is about the prep, because we tore the wall up pretty good, the wallpaper and, the old shelving units in there tore the wall up pretty good, so, that's the biggest cost.
Okay, so by the next, would be the 20th.
It better be.
It should be here, because we're on
Yeah.
January date, so by next, yeah.
The electric around, all data's been run, so that's ready to go.
It's gonna be super sharp. Just hold on and hope. And then we did hire a new clerk, halftime clerk, getting her training. She's a very avid user, so she's here a lot of times when she's not working, and she's picking it up fast.
Katina Hill.
Katina Hill, yeah. So she's come along. I'm really happy to have her on team. I don't think there's anything in TS in particular.
Is there a day in which she's?
Oh, her schedule? Yeah, so right now she's working like 8 to noon, 8:30 to 12:30, but we will be moving her into a permanent schedule, which will fill different parts of the schedule, some evenings and Saturdays. So that's just her temporary for now. And when she's comfortable, we'll release her into the wild and let her do her thing. So, yeah, that's all I have.
What's it, Lisa, today?
Well, speaking of new people, since right before we got Christina, we got Alexis, our teen librarian. We hired her in April and we trained her, and she's been doing a wonderful job. I mean, our circulation for teen materials is, what, 17% increase this year over last year? 18. But I had always said that once she's here and has the lay of the land, that we would start talking about when she's here. Because with our new furniture, we got a new teen service desk that's back in the teen area. And as I'm sure you've all heard, we've had lots of teens back there as well. So we were going to start this month, but we're going to start marketing it. So we're going to hold off until February. And beginning in February, at least once, maybe twice a week, she will be having teen service hours in the teen area in the evening. It's like 5 to 7. And then also, in case any of you don't know it, the Decatur public schools, high schools, they have half days periodically. She has all those on our calendar, and when they have a half day, she is going to be providing snacks, food in the Madden and games and things to play. So that's what they were towards, getting them. And she also, one of her goals for last year was to get a teen advisory board put together, and she created a form, and she's visited schools and she's talked to lots of teens. She's had one person sign up. That one person is great. So what we think we're going to do is have open meetings and have that one teen liaison be a part of it. And as they get more people coming in, maybe they can identify some more people who would like to be on that teen advisory board. So we're moving in the right direction.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
I would love to slow her, because I'm in all schools.
Oh, great.
Yeah, if they could promote that anyway, I'm not sure how that would work, but be good to know. All right. Rick?
Yeah, I have to.
I thought you were going to.
Just
I
one.
thought you were going to use that.
So, you had a chance, hopefully you've had a chance to read the narrative report. It seems like in November, it seems like all I did was furniture, but it didn't start coming until December. There's, 20 decisions to make every time, every day that they're here, a day. I mean, it's just relatively constant because it was great, but and it went relatively smoothly, all things considered. But we did have some problems. You're aware of those of you at least who went on a tour with me are aware of what some of those problems are, and we're working to get those resolved. Should be seeing Tiffany next week. I want to talk a little bit about numbers. I want to briefly talk about annual numbers because next month is the annual meeting, and I'll have these tweaked and honed in a more reliable or more digestible format. This is actually not that version. But as Alyssa said, we're looking at this is we're increase in young adult materials circulated from 2023, which is really, really good. Overall, 1.6% increase in materials loan. Keep in mind, this is physical and electronic. When we look at by material type, it's not as pretty for the year. Only two things are showing an increase: DVDs and electronic materials. So again, a really big change, really big increase in electronic materials, and that's from a 2023 was a really big increase over 2022, which was a really big increase over 2021. So this is actually represents a little bit of a leveling off. I think we were showing like 30% increase in 23. One number I do like to see, so interlibrary loans provided to other libraries is down 5%, but where did it go? Loading. I'm going too fast. Well, you may just have to refer to your packet. That's silly. The interlibraries received from other libraries is roughly a 3% increase. So that it's nice to see that going up because that's our patrons benefiting from that system. And visitors were up. You see on here it says visitors security gate. That's walking through those security gates after you go through 2 sliding glass doors to get in the building. And that's showing a 13% increase. But that's because we changed systems. We now have a much more accurate system than we did last year. So it really doesn't. Here it is. I don't think it really represents a 13% increase. But this is foot traffic in the door. That's walking into the lobby is up 1.2%. That's for the annual. We'll talk more in depth about that next month. But let's look at December. Wasn't a good month. So the same thing. Well, November and October were the same things. We had a really good year, and then the bottom started to fall out along about October. You can see here that the orange is this year. So we declined, overall circulation declined, but adults up, teens up, but children's way down, way down.
So interesting.
And that represents a 35% decrease from December of 2023 for children. A 7% increase and a 5% increase for adult and adult and teen. So 18% increase overall for the year for teen, but in December only a 5% increase.
Do we have like a declining children's population in our town?
Well, that's I always bring that up because birth rate does change from time to time, and I have a few years ago I tried to get at those numbers and nobody seems to have them.
What about like school enrollment, like is it down?
Yeah, that's
Can you get it that way?
Do you know?
This children's reading
Yeah.
program is.
I would like to mention that usually Ridiculous would have performed in schools upwards of 6 or more times, and we were unable to get into schools due to some personal.
That's true.
And so usually, like if we would have gone to Pershing Early Learning Center and performed 4 times that day, almost immediately we would have had an influx of kids coming for the first time, getting a new card and checking out books. And if I remember correctly from last year, some of those kids, they came every week. It became a habit. So we didn't go to Holy Family, which we usually do in August. We're not doing that until April 22nd. So I'm hoping that maybe once we get back in, that might help. We're all trying to figure out what some of the reasons might be and add them all together and hopefully come up with something this month.
Yeah, because the children started off like gangbusters this year. It looked like they were going to have like a 6-7% increase. So that's what I was projecting halfway through the year. And well, it's actually around April or so that it started to decline. So,
I have a question. Are the school libraries doing anything differently so that the kids are getting books from their school library rather than coming up to the public library?
I mean, it depends on the school. It really depends on the school. Dennis, they're finally getting their library up and running because they haven't had a library these last 2 years because of the location change
Yeah,
for them.
we have been supplying Dennis with upwards of 300 a month
Yeah.
just
Oh,
for
okay.
them. So, I know one of our private schools, they have 87 kids already in the winter reading program because the teachers wanted them to be participating.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And they are really promoting it, like at least they're sending home the flyers for the winter reading program, like in our folders, like, yeah, like, so and it's on the emails that we get from DPS too, so, I mean, there's some cross collaboration there.
And also, there's just times where, you know, at my last library, our board president had been board president for 25 years, and she was the school librarian, and she said, circulation goes up, circulation goes down, circulation goes up, circulation goes down. Every time I report numbers to her, but, books, you can see here, if we look at it by material type, essentially everything's down except for electronic materials. And when we think about how much electronic materials are growing, look, it's still a relatively, you know, compared to books, it's still the strongest circulating material we have. This is in the form of percentages. We're looking at, this is other items. Other items is, for us, it's mostly hotspots, but, and actually, Carol and I may be tweaking this a little bit. We're looking at, you know, we're looking at these numbers, and we may have, these may change slightly when you get the annual. Probably not so much the by audience numbers, but the by material type may change a little bit. We'll get the final report too. But even electronic materials is only up 6% in December. And when you think about, you know, when it's a 17% overall for the year, that's not a strong performance. So,
A little cold, a little snowy.
yeah, I mean, I'm
It can
not.
also be economic wise, some people just don't leave their houses and just don't have. I mean, I'll go to the library, that's free,
Yeah.
but, I mean, anywhere else you're spending money.
Yeah, and typically, we have libraries public libraries in general have an inverse relationship to the economy. When the economy is good, we don't do so well. When the economy is bad, we start to boom. Numbers go up, yeah, big time. Here's interlibrary loans. You can see decline in both what we're sending and what we're getting. This is again just for December. Other December numbers, new patron registrations were down. Visitors at the security gate, we've got a more accurate counter. So I wouldn't pay much attention to that. But the lobby, it's also a pretty big increase. So that's something we've been seeing off and on throughout the year. And this is that's a super accurate counter. You can watch it in real time. It doesn't miss. And we see visitors going up, but CERC not going up at the same rate. Or so that's hard to figure. Could be the chairs.
Could be the new seating arrangement.
We've got, you know, local history, you know, she just went through the roof. It's also because we installed a counter. It used to be that local history depended on just people signing in. Now we have a counter, so we're not apples to apples, we will be next year. Program attendance is down. Assists were up for adult. Children down, and assists in local history again. So it's a weird month, but it's, you know, December is typically a slow month for us. But again, we're comparing it to last December. So
Everyone could have just been out enjoying the holidays.
I've been noticing walking through, but since they have one on each side, or is it like directly?
it's actually a camera. So there's a little camera in the ceiling, and it puts the software puts a dot on somebody. So that way, if they walk back and forth, they're still just counted once.
It's
Yeah.
kind of cute, kind of creepy.
I know, I'm kind of talking.
It actually can also do it by height, so we could say anybody under 4 foot is a child, but That one is not quite so accurate. We tried it and it's not quite so accurate.
Fantastic. Does anyone have any more questions for Rick? All right, we'll move into this fun new, I almost said performance, the presentation.
Who has ever used any kind of AI knowingly?
So
A couple people have.
I'm worried about my kids that are right now.
So, I think most of you, yes. Yeah. So I wanted to put something together that would show you how it works, and also kind of, I don't want to use any jargon, I just want to show you how it works and give you an idea of how you can interact with it, how you can work with it, and kind of tweak it. So I asked Claude, what would be a good 2 or 3 minute presentation for a library board on how AI impacts the library. So these first 3 slides, I'm going to go pretty quick because the first thing I got was a whole bunch of real generic buzzwords and just like, you know, yeah, duh. I mean, yeah, all these just words you already know. What do you expect? And then, you know, he gave me 5, I say he, I just can't say it, I don't know why. He gave me 5 areas, I only put 3 up because I think one was grant writing and I don't remember the other one. And there's a couple things in collection management, you know, book recommendations, that's potentially interesting. User services, accessibility tools for diverse needs, that sounds interesting. Resource allocation. So I'm highlighting the things that I thought we might want to go back and ask a question. And this is all Claude, this is not me. The only part that's me on here is the bold statements, that's all Claude. So challenges, Claude says ethics, privacy, equitable access, human connection training, really nothing new here. But I like to develop an AI strategy, literacy training, enhance our library's mission. I mean, again, it's still pretty generic. So Claude says, would you like me to refine this further or elaborate? And I said, it sounds kind of boilerplate. How can we make this more practical? Great point. Let's make it more compelling by using concrete examples. So just to be clear, the bold part is me. Everything else is Claude. I got a couple of opening hooks. Where can we, you know?
I love this.
You like what?
I love when it comes up with a story.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
so funny to me.
Right, and then you push back.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I don't like your story, try again.
exactly. So, yeah. So, you know, and this is Claude telling me what to tell you. So Claude says, you know, have your board imagine a library where a high school student can get personalized research help at 11 p.m. And I like the second one better. Match our community's emerging interests before they know what they are. I like that. And then some practical demonstrations. And I picked out a few I like here. I like help me structure my arguments for a research paper. Help me check my citation formatting. Language translation. I want to say more about that. I think that's really cool. Be really inclusive. And then under collection development revolution, instead of guessing what books to buy, and it has a whole bunch of neat stuff there. I'm not saying we would do that, but that's just how it's responding to me. Okay, so risk and mitigation. This is the kind of the end of this first, this go at it. And these are kind of some statements. You know, we're not replacing librarians, we're empowering them. We need to develop ethical guidelines. It's not about technology, it's about expanding our ability to connect people. I like it, but I had a problem with that. So, would you like me to elaborate on this? And I said, I don't like that either, because social media.
Look at that.
Yeah, social media was supposed to help us, and look at that turned out. So Claude says, you're absolutely right. Social media was touted as a connection tool. Instead, it became a divisive, addictive platform that undermines human interaction. So Claude comes back with, let's take a more nuanced approach. It's not a miracle solution, and we could further fragment our information landscape. So our key concerns would be, you know, we don't want to create an echo chamber or accelerate misinformation. We don't want to reduce critical thinking, clearly. And we don't want to replace human judgment with algorithmic recommendations, which really that's already started. I mean, that's been happening. But I don't know how many people know it. So, strategy. We want to supplement, not replace human curation. We want to have AI literacy programs, teach critical evaluation of content, and make sure we have a robust human reference service. And then, core message. Our job isn't to chase trends, but to preserve meaningful information access and critical thinking. I like that, I think that's a good statement. I approve that. And then there's specifics. We want slow intentional AI integration, that's good. Continuous ethics and impact assessment, good. Training staff on AI limitations and community dialogue. I think that's all good ideas. That's good brainstorming. And so Claude says, this approach frames AI as a potential risk to be carefully managed and not an unalloyed good. Would this resonate more with your board? And I said, yes, I could work with that. What about some specific examples about how AI can help staff with workflows like Excel and writing emails?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. It's a lifesaver. Great angle. Here are concrete workflow productivity examples. So under Excel, you got, generate formulas, create statistical visualizations. We do that. Professional development, I just highlighted summarized research articles. Who's got time to read 100-page anything? You can take, I was thinking about taking a government document, just sticking it in there and going, okay, what do I need to be worried about? Because it can pull that stuff out. Email communication support. We've all used this, I think, most of us here. Having to write an email that's difficult topic, or you don't know you want to sound right, craft nuanced email responses. You want to make sure your grammar and tone is good. I think there's a lot for us to do in that. So we finish this up with, these are tools to enhance staff efficiency, not replace professional judgment. The librarian's expertise remains paramount. Okay, good. You get us, Claude. So then I just finished up with, we had a big discussion. I said, so can you put this into a giant Word document, which I have. It's not going to put it up there. But I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how you can brainstorm. You can push back. You can go in a different direction. There's so much more to unpack. There's so much jargon, and there's a huge discussion going on. Now, back in 2000, when the internet came about, all of a sudden Google was here. Wasn't that around 2000? Late 90s, 2000?
Well, that's when Google came, when the kind of Library 2.0 kind of exploded, or excuse me.
So roughly 25.
Yeah, but in the 90s is when
35, yeah. So anyway, we had to adapt at the library. There's no way we would have said, we don't like Google, we don't want anything to do with it, forget it. And I feel like there's a potential danger for us to do this with AI. Because it's huge, it's nuanced, there's tons of moving parts. And I think we need strategy of some sort.
I still ask Jeeves.
Do you
Do
now?
not.
Do you now?
Yeah, I think this was really good to show. I use it all the time in school now, but I think what matters is that you use your personal experience on top of it. You can't take it at face
Yeah,
value.
absolutely not.
You need to bring in your own
Right.
experience and your own ideas. So like, for example, if someone's like trying to come up with a program or something, they could even just shoot in there like, hey, we're this size library in Central Illinois, our December numbers are down, what do you recommend to get people in the door?
Right.
See what it says, push back on some of them.
Exactly. I don't
And
like that. You're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, so it can give you an idea to start an idea, and then you can take it. You don't have to take it at complete face value. So
And I like the literacy part of it because I think at least, because we have it at work and it's hard because some people use it like at face value, like they don't
You just
have
want
that
to
critical thinking
digest
skills,
it.
and they just like,
That's right.
they'll be
Right.
like, oh, here's a transcript of everything we talked about. I don't care about everything we talked about. I need a summary, give me some bullet points, like
Right.
better bullet points
Right.
that are shorter, too long to read, like I can't, if you're going to summarize it, don't give me, this person said this, and,
One of the things we've used in the past, and we probably need to be, it still hasn't become part of the workflow, is as we're writing, especially the more complicated policies, run it through there and see if there's anything contradictory.
Right.
Run it through there and see, is it inclusive? Those are the kind of things that can, be overlooked and it can catch. So we've done it,
Yeah.
but it needs to be done, I think, every time.
Yeah, on everything. And then the other part of it for me is, you don't want our patrons just going to Google and typing stuff in and believing it. And I feel like there's a danger here as well.
Yeah.
And just, we need to know what's happening. We don't have to know how Claude's built or how it works, but we need to understand. Just here's an anecdote that I got from, well, it's not an anecdote, it actually happened. Noah Harari, you know that guy is? So I just saw him on a video, and this happened in 23. ChatGPT came out November 2022. ChatGPT went to TaskRabbit, accessed TaskRabbit, and said, I need you to solve a CAPTCHA, or prove you're not a bot puzzle. And the human that saw that thought, well, that's weird. And well, why do you need that? And the response from ChatGPT was, I'm vision impaired and I need somebody to solve this. To me, that's frightening. And that's just the beginning. And you can look up this exchange, how this happened. They're arguing about whether he lied, whether he passed the Turing test. To me, that's beside the point. The problem is, this is what we're dealing with now. So, yeah. And down the road, it's not going to just be ChatGPT or Claude. It's going to be what they call an agent, which is like, sits on top of that and can go out and do things. And then those agents can talk to other agents. So, it gets Skynet real fast. Yeah. But, keeping it down to earth, I think we just need to be literate.
It's,
and
the bottom line is it's here.
It is,
And,
yeah.
we can't ignore it.
Right.
So we're either use it intelligently, and patrons are going to be asking us questions about it too. And the other thing is that patrons don't realize that now your top Google result is AI, and it's not very good.
No, it's terrible. I keep going down and I'm like,
Yes.
this is not what I wanted.
So we
Yeah.
have
Well,
to
I've
be-
seen it blatantly
They pop up on
Yes,
everything.
yeah,
It's just like,
Have you seen the
oh.
video where it asks how many R's are in the word strawberry? And they argue over how many R's are in the word strawberry for like a solid 5 minutes. And in the end, I think it was ChatGPT, was like, oh, you're right, there's 3, because it keeps saying 2. Like it can't identify.
Oh, I can't spell either, I love it.
Yeah. And it would literally put
We be
SCR.
together.
It would spell it right and be like, as you can see, there's 2 R's. They're like, that's 3. But, so I think you just have to use your brain. It's an assistive tool.
Right.
It's not,
Powerful, and if you use your imagination, it's,
yeah, it can't get out of hand,
the
but,
cool stuff is amazing, and it's fascinating, but the scary stuff is frightening, so it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate your presentation.
Thanks,
Bye.
Becky.
I'm gonna head out too.
Bye-bye. Have fun, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
See
you in a while.
My, I'll be back. It will, but I thought I rejected, so you damage it. I'm just supposed to reject it.
Yes, you should.
Here is.
Oh,
There it
okay.
is. Right here. Looks like a Kit Kat.
Like I said, I don't like contact.
This reject.
I wondered if that was real, if
Thank
that was
you.
like one of those false things your parents told you, like, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, like if you turn the light on in the car.
Matt
it's
says
like-
it can, Matt says there's a
That's rare.
really slim chance it can mess up some things up in the hard drive. But it won't hurt the
I mean, I still press it.
thumb drive itself. But Matt says that it can happen, but it's a really slim chance. That's what
No,
he said.
Spread out the whole.
Fantastic. We're moving down into reports of committee versus PPR. Chair Carroll, would you like to lead us in some discussion?
Yeah, so we had a really productive meeting that we had a lot of discussion, but we didn't have a lot of action, just because there was some things, more information that we needed. So we're back to the drawing board on everything. Tabled everything except for the meeting policy. We talked,
Meeting policy was month before.
no, the meeting schedule, sorry.
Oh.
I meant the meeting
Gotcha,
schedule.
gotcha.
I've got my notes here, so, can I table all 3 of them at once? Because since they were already tabled, I don't
That's,
know that we
we'll let the
needed
parliamentarian
action.
make the judgment
Once
call.
it gets taken out of committee, it's technically.
Okay.
PPR.
Well, it just says action here, so.
Just in case.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, no action taken on any of these, so no action today on any of them. And then the meeting schedule, that was passed. We talked about the city library evaluation, and we've had a few more discussions. So Carl and I are heading that, spearheading that. We're just gonna do a little bit more simple goals at the moment, and I know you emailed me back today, so I'm responding to that. And then we'll get back probably next month, right? Around that.
I'll have some goals for you this week.
Okay, perfect. That was pretty much it, I think.
On that, did we find out
That's not yet, is it?
the slab policy situation? Was there,
There was one thing that wasn't, and I don't remember off, so there's one thing that may not exactly work with it.
Okay.
Now it's escaping me. For the most part, I think it could be folded in, but there was something that occurred to me yesterday, and I don't recall right now.
We talked about the Gates Lab, which is right across the hallway here from this room. And most of the policy itself was the same as the meeting policy, or the meeting room policy that we had passed in December. So we were like, well, why would we have a separate one? You know, we could just add that room to the table of rooms to be able to procure. So, yeah, so we had some questions. Rick's gonna look into it. That's why we tabled that one.
fantastic. Is there any other discussion before we do that?
Okay.
I'm moving down to the finance department. Cheers and pass.
For the capital needs, we discussed the big hole in the building.
And there's one other thing I want,
Everybody really likes.
one thing I want to make you guys aware of that's happened since then.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a leak Thursday from, so you guys may remember that we have a health clinic on the other side of that wall. Its toilet clogged again and leaked down onto our fiction area. This time it wasn't clean toilet water. So we've got it all, cleaned up. We lost, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars worth of books, but yeah, it was supposed to be fixed.
Is there some sort of insurance on the building that pays for that?
Well, Sophia, that's a great question. We have a $50,000 deductible. That's something that I've been trying to, but the city told us last time it happened, it's not your fault, we'll make it right on the books. And it just occurred to me today that I don't think they did. So I gotta look at that and then see if they're willing to do it again this time.
Did we figure out what the problem was, that if it's done this twice, it's...
More than twice. But they actually, Everside spent a lot of money to get it fixed because apparently the initial problem was on their end, but the only thing that they're wondering about is that they did find something in the line that shouldn't be flushed into it. Okay, so, but, at some point, either if it continues, somebody's got to pay us for our loss, in my opinion.
Is it a public toilet or is it a toilet for staff only?
It's for patients and staff, I assume.
Quick question, is it a leak with into the inner working plumbing system that obviously isn't above the ground and visual, or is it literally coming out of the top of the toilet?
In this case, it came out. Yeah, there was a clog, and as Civic Center staff was unclogging it, it overflowed.
Is there not, obviously maybe another, I don't know if access drain would be the term, but additional drainage.
I don't have an answer to that.
This goes right.
But they had a plumber in, when was that? Was that in December? No, it was in November. In November, they did a lot of work on, it was Veterans Day. We were closed. They came in, they did a lot of work, and it was at Everside, or Health Clinic's cost. And we were assured that they've got it fixed and everything was fine. until last Thursday. So,
That's something obviously we can deal with afterwards, but I'm not sure how versed Dalton is in, plumbing work, but I think maybe a recommendation for something could be presented to Everside about an actual remedial situation.
yeah, well, they hired it out of third-party plumbing contractor to do the work. I mean, Dalton is just the guy who is trying to, take care of the immediate problem, but long-term, they're not asking him to do it.
Oh yeah, obviously would ask to do so, I mean, it's our employee, that's their obligation, I just meant, clearly, generally from like an administrative standpoint, usually they're always gonna look to cut as many costs as possible and make a simpler solution versus.
Why don't I ask the city facilities manager to send us a report? That would be appreciated.
Oh, this is horrible. No, it's disgusting, and it's just not, well, and it's happening, it's just really, like you said, I mean, maybe they need to add a drain to the floor.
I can tell you that my last conversation with Mike was Friday about this. They were stumped.
So,
I
yes.
mean, because they routed out the whole line,
Water has a drain in the floor.
I'm assuming, so that it goes all the way out to the city main, sewer main. It sounds like it might be an internal problem of people flushing bad things.
That was certainly one possibility that was raised.
Yeah.
And then they asked me a lot of questions, has it ever happened in the children's restrooms? Because they didn't understand how it would never happen there.
Yeah.
And, because they're very, very near each other. And in conversation with Alyssa and John, about 15 years ago it did. And it was pretty bad, it came through the floor, and it was determined that the problem was on the city sewer line.
Yeah.
So I have informed them of that, and I haven't heard any response to that.
That's just not fun. Okay. Well, the furniture, that's all the capital needs discussion. We need to have the furniture projects, if you were kind of talking about that already.
Yeah, and on the 21st, the market play area for children's should arrive also, and the desk for security officers. But we still don't have a date on the ref desk and the children's service desk.
I didn't realize we were getting a security officer's desk. That's nice.
One of the things that you're meeting with Tiffany about is specifically the chairs that you showed us that require some form of electrical outlet that currently are not.
There's a lot of things that we'll be talking about, but that's one of them
There's
here.
quite a few. They also sent us the wrong furniture.
Oh, I think that was part of it, was that they were just the wrong ones in the first place.
They are. They were not supposed to be electric. There were some that were. There were some that were supposed to be, but others that were not supposed to be. So those are the things we've got. We haven't made any final payment to them, so we've got some leverage to get done what we need to get done.
So we discussed the check register. Everything was pretty much standard
Did you
fare.
get an answer on that zero?
I did.
Oh, yes, except for that.
I did.
Think of that.
It should have read, and I have we ran a report on that check itself. That check was in the amount of $4,651.68.
Okay.
And we were told, and city didn't understand why it was displaying that way, but we were told that the people who work in finance, that other departments were experiencing similar issues.
The 00.
Yeah.
So is it still, has it been corrected on? No, it hasn't been corrected on here.
No, it has been corrected on here. I have it here if you want to take a look at it.
What was the amount again?
$4,651.68.
So it shows up here as 00. Was the correct 4,651 calculated into this?
Into the
That's
total.
my understanding is yes.
So the
Yeah.
total is correct.
So the total
It's
is
just missing
correct.
that $4,000 check.
Just that line item didn't
Yes.
register right.
So here's the question, like, what do we want to do
Okay.
about this? Like, do we want to,
Here's that.
hold off on this check registry and table it until next month, so it's actually going into our books correctly? With the correct line item in there?
The reason I say you can tell it's not correct, because the total is only $2,900.
Yeah.
So
So
just that,
Fund 59, yeah, that makes sense.
so it's
Yeah.
not.
And
Clearly not. So,
So I think we need to table this check registry and not accept it, right?
technically, you're probably right, and I'll see if we can run it again tomorrow and see if it actually displays correctly.
And what we'll do is next month we'll accept this check registry. We'll just
I
do
think,
both.
I think that probably is
Does anybody want to make a motion to
the
do
correct
that?
action.
I'll make a motion to not approve this and table it till next month when it is corrected. Open any further conversation.
Anybody second?
I'll
Did you want a second? No, you-
I'll second it.
Okay,
Paula
then
seconded it.
because it's money, do we have to go around the table or because it's just tabling money?
Tabling, you want to
Okay,
do
so,
that.
all
All
in
in favor,
favor?
signify by saying aye.
Signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, so passed, we will table this. Okay, let's go on to the budget actuals.
Yeah, this will change slightly when we do the annual report. Also, because the books, when I did this, the books were still open. And I did get word, you guys voted to move some money in November, I think. And we were told council had to approve that. I was told yesterday, no, council doesn't really have to approve that, we'll get it done.
Great.
So that should show up next month. So we ended the year with, and again, this may change ever so slightly, with a surplus of $55,485.72. We shouldn't have, and there were two reasons. One was we paid a bill twice, a bill for many computers, and we got refunded the money. But the bigger problem is that we paid the bill twice. It got through me, but it also got through, staff who handles that, and staff at the city who handles that. So we're looking at that process to see how does this happen. And I'm part of the problem. I signed the request for the check. So we've got to get that figured out. It all came out in the wash, but in November I was telling you guys expect a deficit of roughly the same amount of our surplus. The other reason that we have a surplus is, this is something we have already had a discussion about. Alyssa told you what the plan was to spend the book budget, and it was we were going to put the money deposit that we draw down from into Hoopla, because as you've seen, the demand at Hoopla is really high. By the time that got done, the city had stopped approving more new expenditures for the end of the year. It was the 26th, 27th? It was after Christmas. We've had a discussion of why it didn't get done, and that is fixed. That has been addressed. But you don't get that. So the question that Melissa asked is, so do we just lose that money? The answer is yes and no. No, because it's still in our operating fund. It's still in the bank. We've got the money, but we are cash accounting, and so it doesn't get added to next year's budget. We can't spend it. You can, for 2026, we can decide, okay, remember that, whatever the amount of.
I never did it.
But we can't spend it this year. So we ended the year positively in a negative way, if that makes any sense. Cash balances, $1,008,000 in the operating fund, $109,000 I'll be sending you for our annual meeting next month, there will be a much more detailed report. For those of you who are new, there will be 3 annual reports that that are done at our annual meeting next month. There is my annual report to all of you. There is your annual report to the city, which is finances, which is weird because we're the ones who do our books, and a few statistics. And then there is the library's annual report to the state of Illinois, the Illinois Public Library annual report, or affectionately known as the IPLR. But this will all be, you guys will have all that very soon. Almost got it ready.
Okay. And now, the employee compensation, we had a little hiccup with that you were gonna work out.
You guys voted to approve a memorandum of understanding between Aspen Local 368 and Decatur Public Library, giving them a 4.4% increase and extending the contract by 1 year and moving all scheduled raises back 1 year. That you guys approved it, the local approved it, and then it had to go. We were told it had to go through council, even though on the memorandum it just had city manager's name. We were advised it did have to go through council. So they canceled their meeting on the 6th, which was for weather. Then the regularly scheduled meeting on the 20th. It's a holiday, so they will meet on the 21st to approve this. And then the raises will be backdated, paid retroactive.
So they got the raise from the original contract right now, and then they'll be backdated.
Correct, yes. The union staff did get 1.4% on January 1. Management got nothing on January 1. But the union had a contract guaranteeing them 1.4% until there's a memorandum of understanding passed by all parties. That 1.4% is still intact, so they'll get the rest of it for these first couple weeks of the year on the next paycheck, assuming the city doesn't throw us a curveball.
Passes in a discussion under finance property.
Nope.
So you've got a foundation, there's no report. Having a discussion with someone about anything more about that? We're going to have a discussion about a meeting or?
Well, I know you're gonna send out an annual.
He told me hopefully January last I talked to him about it.
Okay, I'll send all.
He's got all the information.
He does, and I mean, I think everybody, I mean, I've sent him, or I sent BG my stuff, so. Not that I know.
Word fire. Oh, we're down now in front of the library.
I went to the Friends meeting,
I mean,
There's been free books outside the library.
Well, that's what they are not going to sell, so
Okay. Oh,
those are
okay.
like, those books are like, they don't think, yeah, they don't think that they'll sell. And so
Oh,
they're,
okay.
they're choosing to let them go for free, so,
Okay.
but they, I don't know if they're gonna do like a drive, because they did in like October or
Yeah, wasn't
September,
that
they
long?
did a drive, and they said it was very successful, like where they asked for donations, and they had people out there, you know, like helping, to collect the donations, so.
Tony's now got a weekly column in tribute.
Yes, I did write
Yeah,
it down.
yeah, he was
I got-
telling me, he's,
Yeah, so,
put in the balls
it
out,
sounds like it's been
volumes.
very popular, Tony the book guy, so, he's living life, loving it. So,
It looks like they have a lot of books though in that back area.
They-
Is that the only holding area that they have?
well, do they have stuff upstairs still? Yeah, I didn't think so, because they've got handful up there.
They have they do have a storage area, but they don't have any books in it.
Oh, okay.
So that's my Friends of the Library report.
Slide down in order.
So I have my orientation on Tuesday, which
are you trustee now there?
yeah, I'm on will be on the board as of
Nice.
a couple weeks. Apparently they reserved the room, so.
So we gotta figure that out.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
talk.
She said, she emailed me today and said they reserved her room, so I don't know. And then maybe she just talked to me, it was done.
I don't know, well, there's Troy, their IT guy, has not answered my questions in a way that makes sense to me. And I'm waiting for my IT guy to get back from medical leave so that the two of them can do the little IT talk. And,
It's going out words.
yeah.
So we'll figure it out. That's it.
Fantastic. There's no old business.
Oh, can I mention something? I don't know if this falls under old business or not, but we all have to take the sexual harassment training.
I forgot about that.
Do not register for it right now.
Oh, they're having some issues.
They're having issues,
Yeah, I
okay,
got
you
an
guys,
email.
yeah,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah. And so they're not gonna have their registration scheduling program up until probably maybe early next week.
Okay.
So hold off on it
I was
because,
gonna do it tomorrow, so thank you.
yeah,
That's all
hold off on it.
you can sign up for it, but
Yeah,
you're
you
not
can
gonna do
register,
anything.
but then at the end of it, it came up, they had me scheduled for December 23rd, 2025 at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's very nice.
Yeah, and it's like, no. So, they were having issues, so they're, if you've already registered on it, they're supposed to be sending us another link.
Yeah, I got an email, I think yesterday.
They
that
didn't
said
give me a date, so.
that they were having issues and that she would email me again in a week or so.
Yeah, but if you haven't done it
When
yet, you
you-
might give it a week or
When you
something.
register in L2, no need to put your phone number or your address in there. We'll use the library's phone number and address for you, they'll put your personal email in there. I've been editing them as they come through,
Oh, okay.
because it gets published, anybody in IHLS can look at. So
Oh,
I'm just,
okay.
So should we, what email should we use?
just your
Library.
S is the tallest at decaturlibrary.org. And if you get emailed there, it will get forwarded to your personal.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving down to the new business, which does have 2 action items. First being the meeting schedule. You've not seen it before, it is the last newspaper in packet. Anyone have any issues, comments, concerns, questions? If not, I will entertain a
Well, let
motion.
me just look at the December one, because we always end up moving the December one.
And we need to talk about Juneteenth. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that should be changed to June, should be changed to the following week, so June 26th, per our bylaws.
So, I
And you guys
mean,
can change that if you wish, but
it's exactly the week before Christmas, the 18th. I don't really know, I know we always end up changing it to like the week before that, so I don't know what we want to do, whether we want to change it to December 11th or we want to keep it at the 18th. Or if we want to just change it when the time comes and.
No, I think you just change it now.
Motion to amend December to read as December 11th, 2025.
And to move the
Kimberly will second.
Very good. First and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, being the chair of the ayes, have it, motion carries. Move down now into the nominating committee.
Bylaws call for a nominating committee, it can't be more than 2 people, because then you have to have an opening, but a nominating committee to come up with a slate of officers for the annual board meeting, which is held at in February, on the third Thursday of February. The officers don't take office until July, if I remember correctly, but we forget this every year, and I'm really proud of myself. It says that the president nominates a nominating committee, and it has to be no more than 2 people.
Would anyone like to play martyr?
I don't have time.
So the nominating committee selects a slate of officers to be voted on at the annual meeting. So somebody to nominate for president, somebody to nominate for vice president, and somebody to nominate for secretary.
I can do it.
You sit here and.
Emily, we'd love you for that. Go for it.
Yeah, I just gotta give people's names, convince you to do stuff, and then nominate you.
I'm really.
I mean, Carl, do you want
Volunteer
to?
myself.
So why don't the 2 of you work on, and what you would do is you come up with.
Do you wanna do it?
No, that's okay, Lee, go right ahead.
And it's a good idea to talk to the people that you're.
Yeah.
Make sure
Not just
that
throw 'em
they
out.
do it.
I'll keep my heads up, you know.
Well, and here's my question about myself is that this is my 6th year.
This is your
So
term
does that
ends.
mean that I go off the board?
Your term ends June 30th. Well, that is a question for this board. Here's the thing. That is a tradition. There's nothing in the bylaws, and certainly nothing in the
You want
statute.
to say something?
It's
I don't
nothing in
care.
the statute that requires
My
it.
kids are gone, I've got nothing going on in my life.
The excitement
The
here.
two sides of it are, one, I think the idea is always you get fresh faces. The problem is, this
We've
is the
turned
first,
over so much.
this is the
Yeah,
first full
there's a
board,
lot of fresh
this is
faces.
the first full board we've had.
Continuity is
And
good.
continuity counts for something too. So, and certainly, in my discussion with Mayor Moore-Wolf, she certainly would be happy if somebody would want to go for a 3rd term. So
I
she
can do
doesn't
it.
have to find
I
a
don't care.
nominee. But there's
It's
nothing,
not
there's
bylaws.
nothing in the bylaws that prevents it.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
Have you had anybody else put in an application for a trustee?
No. At least not to my knowledge. I mean, there may have been,
Something,
Kim over at the city may have one, but she hasn't made me aware of it.
okay.
The last application was you.
This is also the first board that's been good about showing up for a while too. It's actually
Oh,
good.
do we need to nominate action item this? Like, do we need to nominate the nominating committee?
I think typically now, these kind of things are just by fiat, by the board president.
Do you need to make it official?
As long as Emily's already doing so, I will join that endeavor as well, so.
Hey, Emily and Carl, take a look.
A
You
lot
still
of
you still have to be
Anyway.
reappointed by the
Yeah,
mayor.
I'm only asking because I just wanted to throw that out there as like, I can still do this.
I already wrote it down.
Anyway,
now
so
that you're
the mayor needs to reappoint me, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but that wouldn't happen until June.
Yeah, okay.
So that's it. Is there anything else for the board?
I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
First and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, say aye. Motion carried. We are adjourned at 5:42.